Yusek Sharon Garin, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, I think the calculations, one agency that can derive a number, but I don't know if exactly they can derive what DS Suarez would want is IMAP, Mr. Chair. They can also do simulations on that, Mr. Chair.
On the suggestion of the Honorable Undersecretary Sharon Garin, you're recognized.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair. Yes, we can po.
Pero you don't have that right now. So please prepare for the next hearing.
Will do, Mr. Chair.
The question, that exact question will be raised by the Deputy Speaker again. And we will call you first. Okay, thank you. So, the Honorable Suarez, they will prepare that answer in the next hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, just a quick manifestation because I agree with the sentiments of DS Suarez and I support the motion to convert this to a thorough review of the franchise. I wanted to bring this up earlier, but given that Section 8 is talking about the dispersal of ownership, as we've seen with other franchise hearings we've had, Mr. Chair, this is usually there to temper interests of those who are currently holding the franchise and to level the playing field with the public. So as we can see, we can't talk about inefficiency, we can't talk about La Nina preparedness without talking about conflict of interest. So I really do agree that we should look into Section 8. With that, Mr. Chair, I would just like to request that through the committee and through the chair, most respectfully, we request for the documents that were being referred to earlier. May we request from SGP, Synergy, Grid, the share swap agreement that they might have had with NGCP. And maybe also request, Mr. Chair, for the documents that SGP presented to the PSE for their IPO. I think this would be very helpful for us moving forward, especially if since the motion was granted and we'll be taking that in the next hearing. Yun lamang po, Mr. Chair, for the consideration of the body. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Rog. NGCP, did you take note of the request?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we are taking note of all the requests. Yes, Mr. Chair, even the one given online po.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's clear. Please submit those documents. And the position that all these questions really started because of the transmission issue. Kaya ako nagsasanga-sanga itong mga tanong at nanganganak because also of the answers raised by NGCP. And we have to be very, very clear because at the end of the day, it's public interest, public good, ang bottom line po nito. That's why yan po talaga ang titignan po natin. So now, yes, the Honorable J.J. Suarez, you're recognized.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just need to amend my motion earlier.
Yes.
Since we have sufficient numbers of members present with us online, may I call on the members of the committee to vote on conducting a motu proprio inquiry for the review of the congressional franchise of NGCP. I move a referendum be made on this matter. So move, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion by the Honorable Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez. Any second? The Honorable Dan?
Second motion, Mr. Chair.
Second motion? I didn't know kasi you opened your mic. So,
Yes,
the second by the Honorable Dan Fernandez. Comsec, any objections? If there are none, therefore we now, the motion is hereby approved. We now proceed.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, the Honorable Dan Fernandez.
prior to my
May
next...
okay, pabusin ko muna yung mga tanong nyo kasi may mga tanong din ako. Pero unahin ko muna kayo.
Sige, prior to the next issue that this representation would like to tackle, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to ask yung NGCP about doon po sa NGCP attorney, kasi years ago, ang National Transmission Corporation o Transco, sumulat si Mr. Henry C., ang President and CEO, sa kanya about the establishment or engaging yung pong NGCP in other businesses without prior consent of the PISAM. Are you familiar with this issue?
No, Mr. Chair. If we have a copy of that, maybe we can answer.
Yes. Kasi ang NGCP po ay nagtayo ng mga telecommunication, doon sa mga sub-transmission natin na under the concession agreement. And these have been discussed thoroughly sa Senate, dito sa Congress, etong mga facility na to. And we asked before if these facilities were dismantled. So siguro isama nyo na lang po sa report nyo kung these facilities were dismantled. But because, Mr. Chairman, yung telecommunication business na dollars, $22 billion ang pwede nating projected income dun sa optical fiber that can be put on the grid, no? Napakalaki po ng negosyong pwede nating makuha dito. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I think it is imperative on this government and on this Congress to really review their franchise. Dahil nga, meron po tayong nawawalang potential pagdating po doon sa paggamit ng ating pong grid. Hindi po ito nakita nung ito po'y pinirmahan tong concession agreement, yung possibility that this telecommunication can be taken advantage by this government. And I think we need to discuss the importance of this business that this government must be put on this different sites, ano, yung ating mga sub-transmissions. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, I think, alam mo to, Attorney Cynthia, meron po tayong property na owned by the Social Security System doon sa Pasay. Ito po ay 60,500 square meter. At doon po sa pagtatayo sa Pasay ng 230 kilovolts substation project, it requires only 2,000 square meter. So ang tanong ko, bakit po natin binili yung 60,852 square meter na property doon po sa Pasay na pag-aari ng SSS?
Mr. Chair, we will draft our answer, submit our answer, written form.
And also, please try to answer back on this issue dahil yung pong property na binili ng NGCP, nakapangalan po sa NGCP. Tandaan po ninyo, hindi po kayo ang may-ari nito. Ito'y pag-aari ng gobyerno. And that's the reason why we're asking why the purchase of the property sa Pasay na pag-aari ng Social Security System, nag-file ang NGCP ng expropriation and they were able to purchase the 60,000 square meter property and put the name under the NGCP. Okay, so please put that in your record as well. Yes.
Can I just add that it's not just SSS, there's also cases of NPC and PSAL, Mr. Chair. Similar manner.
So how many, Mr. Chair?
And our record is just 3 government agencies.
3 government agencies. I think also the sa Barangay Bitin, sa Bae Laguna, na kung saan, doon po ako nanggaling, Barangay Bitin, Bae Laguna, in connection with the Lumban EHB Bae 230 kilovolts transmission is under also the expropriation. And kung inilalagay nila sa kanilang pangalan yung property at ang contention nila ay ipapangalan sa atin after the concession agreement expired, then yung property baka tumaas na during that time. So mahirapan ng gobyerno to pay it back or to buy back the property. So dapat ngayon pa lamang, Mr. Chairman, nasa pangalan na po yan ng Transco. Dahil Transco po ang ay pag-aari po ng gobyerno. So yun po ang ating pong isang contention that I think there is also a violation on the part of the NGCP on putting the name of a private company on the property that was expropriated by them and by the government in favor sa kanila. Sa kanila nakapangalan. Hindi po sa atin. So, doon pa lamang nakikita po natin ang maraming mga violation that was committed by the NGCP. So, Mr. Chairman, pupunta na po ako sa last. Kasi po pinag-uusapan kanina, binabanggit po ni Attorney Cynthia yung we're talking about yung kanilang operation dahil nga po La Nina na. Yes.
Mr. Chair,
Sharon, before we ask the Honorable Dan to continue. The Honorable
Yes,
Yusek.
just on the topic on the expropriation, because there is a ruling of the ERC na hindi pwede sila to expropriate if there is no ERC ruling. And exactly the problem why the problem is exacerbated by the fact that it's under the name of a private company. Had it been a government agency expropriating, even for our developers, ang DOE kasing nagsumusulat sa owners for the expropriation proceedings And that medyo, yun yung usual course ng expropriation. Now, if it's a private company, then it becomes longer and more complicated and more bound to the expensive and even more bound to certain rules. Pero kung government yan, Transco or DOE, then beyond the franchise and beyond the IPIRA law, pwedeng may right ang gobyerno mag-expropriate, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Yusek Sharon Garin. Any other question for any other member?
Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Dan Fernandez.
Kasi nga, yun nga po ang tatanong ko rin sa NGCP kasi sa logo lang nila, makikita mo na ng feeling ng NGCP, sila po may-ari ng transmission at hindi po gobyerno. Kung papansinin po ang kanilang logo, hindi ko alam kung meron tayong logo dito Hindi po, dapat sinasama nyo ang Transco Dahil gobyerno may-ari ng transmission, hindi po NGCP. At kung ang may-ari po ng transmission ay gobyerno, dapat sa logo nyo nakasama ang Pilipinas. Hindi nyo inaari ang transmission. Now, Mr. Chairman, balik po tayo doon sa nangyari noong January 2, 2024. Alam naman po natin, Mr. Chairman, na nagkaroon tayo ng going back to the premise of Attorney Cynthia, that La Nina, papasok na po La Nina. Noong January 2 ng 2024, nagkagulo po sa Panay. Alam naman natin that lahat tayo nasa bakasyon. Pumasok ang Kongreso para pag-usapan lang yung problema ng Panay, power interruption. We have invited si Roel Castro sa Panay. I think he's still in here. So, ang tanong ko sa NGCP, ang pinag-usapan po natin doon ay yung pong ancillary services. So, sa ancillary services po na binabanggit, it is the obligation of the operator, which is the NGCP, to supply for the reserve capacity, contingency, and yung tinatawag nating what's this? Disposable. So, ang tanong ko po, prepared na po ba tayo doon po sa ating mga tinatawag na mga reserves? Firm na ba lahat ang mga contracts natin at wala na po tayong non-firm?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, pagdating sa Luzon, ilan po ang naka-alat natin para po sa tinatawag nating reserve capacity? Sa regulating reserve, ilan po ang
Mr.
megawatts?
Chair, sorry. May I clarify po?
Yes.
For our ancillary services procurement, we were required by the Department of Energy to conduct a CSP. Now, the competitive selection process was conducted and finished in 2023. And then in 2024, we were also required to purchase a certain percentage from the ancillary services reserve market that was established in January of this year. So we have finished conducting the CSP, and the reserve market, which was launched in January po, was reinstated and then subsequently suspended and again reinstated last July. So umaandar na po yan. So yung requirement po ng NGCP na mangontrata ng firm contracts under the CSP, tapos na po yan. At yung iba po, binibili natin sa merkado.
So, pagdating sa Suarez, it's an honor, Mr. Chairman, to be called Dan Suarez.
It only means that it's Christmas.
Okay, according sa ASPP, no, yung contingency reserve natin na kailangan natin sa Luzon, firm contracts, 647 megawatts. Are you compliant with this?
Mr. Chair, the data I will get for you, I'll have them from the SO. But in terms of contracting, we have complied with the directive to do CSP, and we are purchasing what is required from the reserve market. But again, it really depends on what is on offer.
Ito, Atty. Cynthia, magja-January na ha. Baka mamaya yung mga congressman na naman natin sa Iloilo, ayan, katulad ni Yusek Sharon Garin, tagaroon yan. Baka mamaya mag-outage na naman tayo, todas na naman tayo dyan. So, ang kailangan natin sa Luzon, firm contract, 647 megawatts. Sa Visayas, 150 megawatts. Sa Mindanao, 150 megawatts. Ba't ko sinasabi, ito yung contingency reserve? Ang ibig sabihin, kailangan ninyo magkaroon ng ancillary services, primary reserve, na yung pinakamalaking planta sa Luzon. Nagkakater siya ng 647. Kapag yun nag-failed, kailangan meron tayong pampalit doon, which is 647 megawatts ang pinakamalaki natin sa Luzon. Sa Visayas is 150 megawatts. Sa Mindanao, 150 megawatts. These are all the ancillary services that we need for Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao for contingency reserve alone. Meron din tayong tinatawag na dispatchable reserve. Sa dispatchable reserve, Atty. Cynthia, kailangan din natin sa Luzon ng 647 megawatts, sa Visayas 135 megawatts, and Mindanao 150 megawatts. Kung meron tayong reserve sa Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, dito para sa contingency reserve and dispatchable reserve, there is no reason para tayo magkaroon ng outage ngayong darating na January. If ever, na magkaroon tayo, you have said and manifested in here that we have complied with ancillary services, then I will take your word for that. Atty. Cynthia. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At least yung mga taga-Panay at Negros and other part of our country ay meron po tayong ancillary services. Meron tayong regulatory reserve, meron tayong contingency reserve, meron po tayong dispatchable reserve, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. The Chair recognizes from Cagayan de Oro City, the Honorable Lord Dan Swan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to ask a few questions
Yes,
regarding
please. You have
the
the floor.
topic of delayed projects. Attorney Cynthia, you said earlier that there are these are large capex projects and are not ordinary projects. What did you mean by that?
Our projects po are in the billions. My example then was the CNP3. That's from the top of my head, 72 billion. The Hermosa San Jose, that's 21 billion.
Yes, and what did you mean by what is the difference between ordinary and large capex projects in relation to the topic of delayed projects?
My point there, Mr. Chair, was that if you purchase a small value good, let's say a cell phone, you are generally required to pay for it before. You are generally required to be able to use it before you pay. So it has to be workable. But for bigger construction projects like ours, there's a line of thought or
You mean like the consumers are required to pay before the project is completed because of the huge amount of capital involved?
and also to smoothen the impact of the payments to the consumer, so that instead of paying for, let's say, the 22 billion plus the 72 billion plus the other capex projects that we finished in the last 12 months, instead of paying for that in one go, it is spread out.
So that is your reasoning behind having the consumers pay before the project is finished?
That is the rationale behind the regulatory framework that Chair Mona mentioned, that it's forward-looking. So that is really the whole purpose of that is in the vernacular, para hindi mabulunan ang mga konsumante. Para utay-utay nilang babayaran yung napakalaking requirement para mapalawak yung transmission grid at hindi isang bultuhan ang bayaran.
Okay. You also mentioned about 1% recovery.
Again, Mr. Chair, that is in reference to the fact that we went and proceeded with the construction of our projects despite not having a regulatory reset process. So in the case of those two projects, just in the case of those two projects,
Is that the Panay and
Cebu
Hermosa?
Negros Panay po and the Hermosa San Jose. In the case of those two projects, if you go and look at the records of the ERC, the allocation for recovery of those projects that are finished, commissioned, and are being used right now is less than 1%.
What do you mean by the allocation by the ERC? Can you explain it?
Sige po. Normally po kasi yung pinaliwanag ni Chair Mona earlier, kung nangyari po yung reset process for the 2016 to 2021 regulatory period, na ilatag na ng NGCP ng lahat ng ibig niyang gastusin between those years. At ang regulatory framework na dinatnan po ng NGCP, ibig sabihin po noon we stepped into the shoes of Transco, that would have been charged accordingly over those 5-year period. Pero dahil po hindi nangyari yung reset process, napilitan po si NGCP na humingi ng interim revenue scheme para lang ho tumuloy ang negosyo kasi hindi naman po pwedeng tumuloy yan kung wala po kaming papasok na pamuhunan. So, ang nangyari po doon is hindi ho talaga naka-allocate yung na kasama ho doon sa revenue namin sa kada project. So, yun po yung pinapaliwanag namin na in that particular case, these big ticket projects, maliit ang allocation. There are other projects that have allocations. That's why it's very important po talaga na moving forward that the reset process must be conducted on time. Kasi po nagkakagulo na, you have a forward-looking framework. NGCP was forced to work on the existing rules at that time. And although we recognize the concerns that these rules may or may not be, in the opinion of certain factions, not the ideal, we are left in a situation po na may actual cost ka working in a forward-looking regulatory framework without rules, unclear kung anong rules dapat ang sinunod. Ang NGCP naman po kasi sinusunod lang po namin yung batas at regulasyon na in place at the time act.
So you're talking about the retroactive application of the rules?
Yes, Mr.
I
Chair.
also remember that you mentioned something earlier that some rules retroacted which resulted in unfairness on the part of the NGCP?
I'm not sure I said the word unfair today, but it does lead us into a situation po where the CAPEX has been expended. Nagastos na ho namin natapos na po yung 2016. And at that time po, yung rules noon wala. So wala ho kami talagang choice kung di i-assume na yung last approved rules, yun po yung gagamitin namin. Hindi po kasi kami pwedeng mag-imbento ng sarili naming rules. So ngayon po, kung papalitan yung rules na gagamitin for the past years, mahirap pong sabihin na dapat hinulaan ni NGCP na 10 years later, magbabago yung rules. So I don't want to qualify it as unfairness, but that is the situation we are in, na tapos na po yung mga taong yun, ginamit ho namin yung huling inaprobahang rules. Tapos, kung magbabago po yung rules na ipapataw dun sa mga taong yon, mahihirapan ho kaming sagutin kung bakit naging ganon yung action under the new rules because those rules did not exist when we acted.
Okay. May I ask Chairman Lisa Dimalanta regarding her comment? Because I remember you said something regarding that topic earlier in response to Attorney Cynthia.
Thank you po. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I suppose it's on the last part po, yung about the retroactive rate making. Opo. I think, kaya nga po kanina pinaliwanag ko po na ang posisyon naman po namin ay hindi siya retroactive rate making or retroactive rule making kasi nga po walang rates or walang rules that were governing that period. Whatever was issued by ERC were clear to everyone, to all stakeholders as an interim arrangement only. Tama naman po yung sinabi ni NGCP na ay ano pong susundin namin kung wala pong rules. So ang ginawa po nila, in-apply po nila yung kung ano yung nakasanayan nila during the previous 5-year period. But from our end, it is with the understanding that there will be rules that will come out later. Because hindi po, lalo na po, yung very fundamental po yung diferensya eh. Kasi po, forward-looking nga po yung approach. So, how can we still do a forward-looking approach when the period had already passed? So it's not a matter of discretion. It's a matter of what is workable. It cannot be, we could not work backwards because it's forward looking. Sana nga po kung may na-file na, pwede po nating estimate and konti lang yung diferensya. Pero ito po, ilang taon po yung diferensya. So, yun naman po yung sinusubukan ng komisyon na tapusin para nga din po makausad na po tayo talaga dun sa forward looking if that will remain the regulatory framework moving forward.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. May I ask Attorney Cynthia, you said earlier that you no longer have any delayed projects, right? And
No, Mr. Chair, the statement was we are on time for
You're
the
on time.
SIS po, the
okay.
System Impact Studies.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Lordana Swan of Cagayan de Oro City, 1st District. For NGCP, ma'am, pwede lang magtanong, meron pa po tayong mga projects na kung saan lupa ay ating dapat binili pero hindi po natin nababayaran kaya nagkakadelay po ang mga proyekto natin.
Mr. Chair, our mode of acquiring right away, dalawa po yun, negotiated or ex-pro. Yung sa negotiated
Let's talk
po...
of negotiated.
I'm sorry po?
Negotiated.
For negotiated po, bago po namin mapasok at magamit yung proyekto, meron na ho kaming kasulatan. Minsan ho talaga nade-delay yung full payment dahil po may mga requirements na hindi ma-submit yung landowners. But in general, they are given, may kasulatan na po, deed of sale or other documentation. Tapos po, may mga payments na. But admittedly, there are areas where hindi pa po fully paid because of documentary requirements.
And would this non-payment because of lack of documentary requirements delay the plan or delay the implementation of the project?
In general, no, Mr. Chair, because when we negotiate with a landowner, it begins with, of course, yung price, and when that's been agreed, we give them a list of requirements to submit so that we can document po yung property rights. Kasi malaki hong problema talaga pag walang kasulatan over the right of way. We encountered that during Transco's time. So, very important po talaga na maisulat or may kasulatan yung right of way namin. And then, there is a payment. And then, also, they will sign a permit to enter. So, the delay in payment ought not to delay entry into the property po so that we can build the lines. However, that's a general rule, Mr. Chair. However, there have been cases where although we have the proper documentation already, signed documents, or even in some cases, writs of possession from the court, hindi ho kami pinapasok. And maximum tolerance po kami dyan, we try to negotiate anyway. So when there is resistance from the landowner, even though they've already agreed to the right of way, minsan ho talaga, yung resistance ho yung nakakatagal. Yung payment ho, hindi ho dapat makatagal. Yung resistance po.
So, pero posible po ba yung binili yung property at saka yung right of way are two different people or entities? Different groups, pwede yun, di ba? Posible, dito ko magtatayo, pero yung right of way ay iba or pareho po yan? Usually.
Mr.
It's the
Chair,
same person.
lahat naman po, as long as hindi illegal, pwede. Pero that might cause a problem for us and cause more delay.
So you make sure that kung saan kayo magtatayo, yung right of way is also the same person you're talking to. Pareho pa rin.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Yung owner, yung right of way property, yung pagdadaanan,
Opo.
no? To that property
Yes.
na pagkatayuan nyo ng transmission lines, usually parang tao yan. Hindi yung nag-iiba. Am I correct?
The owner of the property and
Yes.
the person who has rights over the
Yes.
property. Usually they're the same po. I mean the person
No,
who has
kasi I
rights
thought that just one delay could be ito may-ari ng property, pero yung right of way may problema to that property. That's how I understood you earlier. So akala ko you're talking to two different people.
Oh, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So you're always talking to the same person.
Usually.
Okay, thank you very much. The Honorable Sharon Garin. I'm sorry? Oh. Okay. The Honorable Yusek Sharon Garin has a slide that she would like to show us.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just on the question kasi earlier is like what is the impact of climate change or La Nina on electricity? We've tracked the peak demand all throughout the year. And then if we can show lang the graph that I sent, sana. Because the peak demand changes by the set kung ang heat index umaakyat, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just one page lang. Nakama. The last one.
Can you
I sent
please
lang.
flash the slide of
While they're looking
DOE?
for the slide, Mr. Chair, how we address kasi the climate change issue in energy, Mr. Chair, is we want to do a transition, no? Transition to renewable energy, transition to a cleaner energy. So, ang push ngayon ng bakit namin ginagawa yan? Because there's climate change. But also, in one sense, we are also causing the climate change because we still haven't transitioned. So, ngayon, we're highly dependent on coal and fossil fuel. So, ang nangyayari ngayon, hindi namin ma-push ang mandate of the President, which is to have 35% renewable by 2030 and accelerating up to 2050 na 2040 na mga 50% na siya. Ang importance kasi ng yung heat index, yung init, makikita niyo po kasi sa demand kasi sa electricity during summer. Andiyan na ba? Ay, hindi mo makuha. Alright, I'll just share the numbers natin. Wait lang, Mr. Chair. So, ang peak demand kasi, ang normal, kung actual peak demand ng 2024 April was 14,000 megawatts, 14,016 megawatts. Pero nung umaakyat yung peak demand niya, kasi umakyat din yung heat index into 48.3, naging 15,252 din siya. So it is very important. It's very relevant for the industry yung climate change. So that's why we've been pushing really for more renewables para makatulong din yung nakakatulong sa climate change, pero nakakatulong din siya sa peak demand natin. And I just wanted to read the statement of the agency. The increase in global temperatures as well as the prevalence of extreme weather events in the Philippines in recent years. We need more decisive action to address climate change. The pace of which emissions continue to increase, projections indicate a much warmer climate by the end of the 21st century, with the potential temperature increases between 3.5 to 4.4 degrees Celsius. The impact of this, Mr. Chair, we can see there will be a spike in electricity demand, marami tayong losses, marami tayong outages because of the generation companies, and also, Mr. Chair, the price of electricity may be affected. So I think if we do fix most of the problems in electricity, which is probably regulatory, also the transmission, it is rightfully so. Dapat siguro tignan yung transmission if we want also to make a significant change on the impact of climate change on electricity prices, Mr. Chair. Kasi pag maayos natin. It's not just transmission, there's generation issue, distribution, and also regulatory. But this is one factor also that can influence the prices to go down, even though we have a hotter climate in the Philippines in the future, Mr. Chair. Kaya DOE is really steadfast in this statement na kailangan talaga iayusin lahat, including transmission. Now, ang problem lang kasi we keep on pushing for 35% na renewable, and we have over 1 trillion investments in the Philippines already. Ang problema, Mr. Chair, kung we have had many cases already na tapos na yung project, wala pa yung transmission niya. And these projects have gone through SIS, all the evaluation already. So, for example, Mr. Chair, may rates tayo dyan, we made a preliminary estimate. Marami kasi yan matatapos na sana this month, pero hindi pa tapos yung transmission nila. Delayed talaga basta delayed yung pag-connect nila. Pag may power ka na, pag may solar farm ka, di mo na hihintayin yan, mag-produce ka na lang ng produce kasi may araw na So ang estimate namin on wind power projects, on onshore projects, the expected losses because of the delayed projects of the developers is 68,272,413,362. For offshore wind, this is bigger because these are bigger projects. The total expected lost revenue of our developers is 251,465,760,000 pesos. Sa solar, sir, 4,563,282,95 pesos. A total of 324 billion ang losses ng generation companies dahil sa delay ng transmission. That also affects our targets, Mr. Chair. That will also affect the price of electricity. So, ang delay kasi hindi lang yan just for the compliance or TDP, compliance of the regulation of ERC. But it will basically redound to the effect on each household in the Philippines. Kasi pag ma-delay yan, sayang naman, wala tayong transition, nagiging mahal pa. Ito po, sir, yung picture, just to yung graphic illustration of what is the effect of the heat index in the demand. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. So, I think that's clear enough that any delay definitely has an impact and a cost. It will definitely impact also on the prices.
Yes, sir.
And that will definitely be shouldered by the consumer. Yun yung sinasabi nyo. Whether wala, kasi dalawang issue. Unang issue, kakulangan. Pangalawang issue, presyo ng kuryente. So there are two issues that has to be I think we're tackling in this hearing, which goes back to the preparedness of any possible calamity issues that we're going to have in the future. I just would like to ask Nea, meron po kayong mga suggestions? I mean, after hearing all of this, meron po kayong mga suggestions as far as amendments to EPIRA or the NGCP's grant?
Good morning, good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Good
As
afternoon.
I was listening to the discussion, I would like to believe that during the next meeting there will be a lot of operational issues
Yes.
that will be brought out, and it's a good thing that I'm here to hear all the discussions, and would like to proactively prepare for all these operational issues to support any discussion. Well, I would adhere to the suggestion of Kong J.J. Suarez. It's really happening that the substation operations of NGCP is lacking in capacity. As case in point, in the province of Pangasinan, there are 3 electric cooperatives that are supposed to be benefiting already on the renewable developers or the renewable plans in line or in the pipeline. But however, there would be a delay that would be incurred because of the inability of NGCP to provide capacity in their substation operations. Things like that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you very much, Honorable Mr. Almeida,
Mr. Chair.
for joining us. Yes.
Yes.
Honorable J.J. Suarez.
Other than Pangasinan, Mr. Chair, can NEO also identify other areas where we have the same situation?
I would, Mr. Chair, I would do that, Mr. Chair, and prepare all this information relating to that. Thank you.
So,
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, because meron din po akong mga dumadating na report sa akin when it comes to submarine cables, underwater submarine cables that connect to inter-islands. So mukhang pati yung issue na yon kailangan din natin mabuksan at mapag-aralan kasi may mga reklamo din pong dumadating sa atin patungkol sa efficiency ng mga cables na yon at saka sa performance ng NGCP on that aspect.
Thank you very much, the Honorable. Yes, the Honorable Mr. Almeida.
Yeah, the recent event in Siargao, luckily it was already solved last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago. Siargao is awaiting for the interconnection of NGCP to connect the island to the main grid. What is functioning there right now is the cooperative-owned limited capacity of submarine cables. So hopefully NGCP can look into that because the development of Siargao is being suppressed because of the lack of power for the other developers to be serviced by Siargao Electric Cooperative.
Thank you very much. So, how long was Siargao out of electricity? I heard more than a week. I was supposed to conduct a hearing, but I found out na okay na. That's why I canceled that. Naayos na raw.
Mr. Chair, the fault happened December 1. We were able to restore power through the repaired submarine cable by December 14. So total
2
of
weeks.
13 days. 13 days.
Almost 2 weeks. And right now, it's operating 100%. I mean, more or less, it's back to what it was before?
The power coming from the submarine cable is a bit managed because it was later found out that it can only deliver effectively 12 megawatts. Now, the total peak demand of Siargao is at 16 megawatts. So we were able to put on a timely deployment of diesel gensets to augment and service the whole peak demand, Mr. Chair.
NGCP, I think they're waiting for you.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify, Kinea Chair.
Yes, please.
The submarine cable that failed was owned by Sharelco. And we do have a project to interconnect, but that has not had ERC approval. It's filed, kailan lumabas? Hindi pa namin natatanggap.
Oo nga.
So
Pero
again,
but we approved it,
was,
na, Mr. Chair.
it was, hindi pa namin natatanggap. So as far as we're concerned, we have yet to receive. And again, this was filed in the 5th RP. So in that respect, Mr. Chair, there is no delay to speak of because the failure was not on the part of NGCP. In fact, we did help Sharelco a lot. We sent our equipment and 2 metering and testing teams plus a 9 personnel. We did understand that it was very terrible to have no power for, I think, almost 3 weeks. But
2
NGCP
weeks.
tried to do its part for Sharelco over and beyond po our mandate.
So as we speak, wala na po kayong obligasyon sa Sharelco or sa Siargao or wala na po?
In terms of right now, again, we have yet to receive the approval of the project. But this project, if that they're going, well, yun nga po, may project po dyan talaga, pero hindi pa namin natatanggap yung approval. And projects will take a long time to build. It's not gonna be ready next month.
So
Mr. Chair, just to manifest.
maybe just to, maybe you can, yes, ERC.
We will, there was a project application filed by NGCP, but we noted that there was an amendment, parang ililipat po yata yung connection point. So actually, hinold pala namin yung review because there was an amendment of the design. So it's part of our ongoing evaluation, Mr.
How long will that take? Chair Di Malanta.
Opo. We're targeting all these pending with us by Q1 of 2025, Mr. Chair. Kasi po actually bumilis na yung review namin ng mga pending projects po.
So by Q1 of 2025. So when does NGCP come in after Q1?
Actually, Mr. Chair, for many of these projects, nasimulan na rin naman nila. So, I just don't know for this particular one kung nasimulan na po nila or kung anong status po ng project.
NGCP, nakapagsimula na ba kayo dyan? Kasi,
Again, Mr. Chair, it's hard to start projects without a framework to work around. Apart from the fact that
no, but I think they're saying that you're able to do that. You're able to start without, because eventually
in the past-
approval is coming.
in the past, we have been, but again, by experience, the Supreme Court ruling has been cited by many of our counterparts as a reason to not issue us the required paperwork to proceed. So, while in theory we can, the Supreme Court ruling is proving to be a huge hindrance to us.
Anyway, we all know that Siargao is one of the more popular tourist destinations in the country, and power there is very important.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we
And,
fully support.
Please take a look at that closely. I
Thank you,
think
Mr.
we have to move faster, especially for areas like this, no? That brings work and improves the economy not only of that area but the entire Philippines. I mean, we know that our major revenue is coming in from tourism. The Honorable Almeda. Mr. Almeda, Chair Almeda.
Yes, Mr.
Administrator
Chair, I
Almeda.
just would like to confirm, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank NGCP in the assistance given to Sharelco. I didn't mean to impute the fault to NGCP. As I mentioned, it was operated and owned by Sharelco, the submarine cable that is functioning. So that's all, Mr. Chair. Anyway, thank you, NGCP.
Thank you. So, yes. Thank you, Administrator Almeda. The Honorable Yusek Sharon Galin.
Mr. Chair, what happened to Siargao? I'm just comparing it to the Panay incident. Because that was also, it was not just a transmission, ERC still has to, but there were problems with generation also, in tandem with transmission also, Mr. Chair. This affected 5 provinces after yung nag-blackout yung buong Panay. Because of generation problems and also grid instability. So that's how big an impact is if there is delay in the project, Mr. Chair. Kasi talagang Cebu Negros Panay was supposed to be finished in December 2020 under the 2016 TDP. Ngayon lang siya natapos ng March 2024. So things happened in between. No? I think since the one major distributor is here also, I think they can also relay what happened to them when the problem on the grid caused by probably several factors. Pero Panay also had this problem, Mr. Chair, and lahat po na players involved. Pero I think grid also has a certain degree of culpability in that sense, sir. Si GM ba yung tawag? President Castro is here, Mr. Chair.
Is he here?
Yeah.
Yes. Mr. Castro, you may want to take a seat. That's a question.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Castro, may we know what happened to the Panay issue in relation to the grid? Yes.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I think in the next few days, we would be celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the 5-day brownout blackout that Panay had experienced in January 2 to 4 this year. Although there were many hearings that were made, but I guess there was, as far as we in Panay is concerned, there has been no concrete steps seen that could really say that the incident may not happen again. Although I'm happy that NGCP confirmed that it cannot happen anymore. On this point, Mr. Chair, one of the things that I guess I learned from NGCP, during that time, there were no rules on the manual load drop. No, and that was the reason why NGCP did not call for the load dropping, because there was no rule on this. My question is, at this point, I don't know if there is such a rule already in place, or if none, who would trigger this change of rule for NGCP to be allowed to do manual load drop if necessary. That's one. Second, Mr. Chair, is that, although we've been talking about the big projects and, I guess the small projects connecting more power to the grid are also important, I'd like to point out that in 2024, there were 162 unscheduled incidents of outages that came from NGCP or transmission-related outages. Now, again, the number is 162 incidents in 2024 alone, for a total of about 48,735 minutes, or a total of 811 hours when we got affected from the NGCP unscheduled interruptions, Mr. Chair. Third is, in those hearings, we also cited the need to have the 3x100 MVA substation in Iloilo City, which was, if I remember during the hearing early this year, it was committed to be done within 1 year, which is end of this year. But to note, the latest information we got is that it's only the 1x100 MVA that will be finished by January of 2025. So we are alarmed with this development, with the delay of this project, and the number of outages that we've been having of 162 outages in 1 year alone, no, is something very alarming, Mr. Chair. So, well, I guess this is the situation for us in More Power in Iloilo City, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Castro, would the NGCP want to respond to this?
Just on the point on the substation,
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
now slated to be completed in the second quarter of 2025. However, I recall, Mr. Chair, that at one of the hearings last year, we did note already that one of the requirements for this project was access to the site. And that was negotiated with one of the power plants. So that's where it took a little bit of time because NGCP, in terms of wanting to pursue projects, gusto ko naman talaga naming tapusin. But there are really external factors. And in respect of this particular instance, the external factor that caused a little bit of delay was negotiation with the power plant for access to the site where we can put the transformer in. Pero na-resolve na po yun, kaya meron kaming target second quarter of next year.
Mr. Chairman.
Would you like to seek clarification?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Well, if it's going to be second quarter of next year, then that would be very beneficial. I hope it's the 3x100, not the 1x100 MVA, Mr. Chair, no? Because the growth of Iloilo has been on double digit, and we are just afraid that the capacity of NGCP substation might again, might catch up, no? That we won't be able to have sufficient capacity in Iloilo City, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Castro. The Honorable Yusek Sharon Garin.
The growth,
DOE.
the demand growth of the average of the country is 6.3, mga ganon. Iloilo's 13, over 13%. Yes, Mr. Chair.
So it's really double.
Mr. Chair.
So a lot of catching up has to be done for Iloilo and
Chair.
other parts of the country. Of course, the
Yes.
Honorable Dan Fernandez.
Para ma-resolve po natin yung problema ng ganyan, yung mga delayed, talagang makikiusap tayo sa ERC. Especially the majority who voted that yung pong mga projects na ginagawa pa lamang at hindi pa tapos ay babayaran na ng consumer. So, I hope that with the leadership of Chairman Mona Lisa Di Malanta and with the intervention of the other members, alisin na po yung I think they have decided, no? They have decided already.
May isang deliberation pa po kami.
May
for
isa pang
this.
deliberation. So makikiusap po tayo doon sa majority or sa commissioner na wag na po yung spent ang ipasok doon, kundi talagang wag bayaran, no? Para na sa ganun po ay makompel ang NGCP to finish it right away, mapabilis para mapasama na sa babayaran ng consumer. Otherwise, kapag binabayaran na natin yon, talaga magiging lax eh. Magiging lax sila eh. Dahil nagbabayad naman ng gobyerno eh. Nagbabayad ng tao. So, bakit naman nila bibilisan yan? Eh, nagbabayad tayo. It doesn't make sense eh, Mr. Chairman. Pero once na tinapos agad nila yan, at alam nila na hindi to babayaran ng taong bayan hanggang hindi to use and useful, eh, Mr. Chairman, bibilisan po nila yan. Yan ang nagiging predicament ng ating DOE kay Secretary Lotilla. Dahil nga po, pabago-bago sila ng time ng completion. Because wala naman silang inahabol eh. Binabayaran kami ng taong bayan eh. Ba't kami maghahabol? Bakit namin tatapusin yan? Yan po yun eh, Mr. Chairman eh. As simple as that. Di ba? So, Ma'am Mona Lisa, so sana po ay makonvince po ninyo yung majority. Otherwise, kung hindi po nyo mako-convince, we will ask them to be present here. No, in the next well, we will be asking them to be present as well in the next hearing to get commitment from them. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Fernandez. Also for ERC, DOE and ERC, I'd like to ask you to please submit your suggestions for any amendments that we may have for the various laws that concern electricity, especially the PIRA law, no? And of course the NGCB grant. May I also ask that in the future hearings, aside from those that have been asked to be invited, Transco, PISAM, NASECOR, and LGU area representatives and PCC, Philippine Competition Commission, will also be invited to the next hearing. For the position paper, the answers to the questions raised to NGCP, which you opted to just write the committee, may we have them before January 3? Okay? Is that okay? I'm giving you enough time. Is that okay?
Mr. Chair, it's the 24th tomorrow and the
Yeah.
25th on Wednesday, so that leaves us 2 working days.
No, but January. So, how many days do you need, ma'am? I'll adjust.
May we have at least 15 working days, considering po kasi ang daming bakasyon right now. It's the holidays po kasi.
Kasi we have to work also, no? And because you're in the calendar of Congress, may I opt that we shorten that 15-day request. And maybe it will be best that we'll give you up to the 4th of January, which is basically from now to, they're looking at 11 days, which is more or less close to your 15
Calendar
days.
days, Mr. Chair, if begging your indulgence, working days, I'm sorry, working
Baka
days.
pwede naman kasi online naman po yan. You can submit it online.
Our people are also with their families. So if we can have just working days rather than calendar days. We understand the urgency, Mr. Chair, but our staff also are with their families and the details are with them po. I mean, kami ho, talagang walang bakasyon, but yung mga tao ho namin sana.
Well, right now it would be for the because of the you have to understand that we also have a
We have a meeting on the 6th.
yes, because also we were thinking of also conducting a hearing sooner, so maybe just peg it at the 4th right now. Okay, that will be, I think you have ample time.
Sir Chair, the 4th po is a Saturday.
The 3rd.
The 3rd is right after.
Go online on the 4th with me. Or with the ComSec, okay?
Mr.
4th
Chair,
na tayo online.
It's our people who will have to ask them to work through New Year. The rank and filers po, through New Year and Christmas. Is that po the directive of the chair?
No naman. I don't want them to work.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I don't want them to work on Christmas, but if there's 26, 27, 28, 29, then there's 2,
weekends
3,
rin po yun
4.
The calendar days left.
Calendar days would not be.
The
No,
calendar
that would be-
days po left, Mr. Chair, is 26 and 27. That's Thursday and the Friday. 28 and 29 are weekends. Is 30 a holiday? Yes. 30 is a holiday. 31 is New Year's Eve. 1 is New Year's Day. And then that leaves us with just 2 and 3. So, considering the voluminous documents that we have to go through, and ang dami po kasing nakalista dun sa mga hinihingi po, that will constrain us to ask our people to work through weekends and the holidays. If it were up to me, Mr. Chair, kung ako lang talaga po. But it's our people
Yes.
po, kasi marami na rin po sa kanilang umuwi sa kanilang
Opo.
mga probinsya. If we can ask, Mr. Chair, with your indulgence po, at least just until January 10, para po makapagpahinga ng konti yung mga tao namin.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair,
Okay, pwede po ba yung position papers, we can
December 10?
ask you to do that, pero yung mga dokumento kailangan isubmit earlier po.
Mr. Chair,
Pwede po ba?
Mr. Chair, can I object?
Yes. The Honorable J.J. Suarez.
Mr. Chair, they're $1 billion entity. What is it to retrieve documents? I'm sure they have lawyers and staff and accountants. That shouldn't be difficult. It's already existing. It's not like they're gonna have to recreate documents that is not already in their office.
Yeah. Mr.
Tapos kung sasabihin nila na January 10 pa sila magsasubmit, I think we want to have a hearing earlier on.
Mr. Chair, it's
Pwede
not...
naman siguro yung January 10 sa kondisyon na huwag niyong ipapass on yung mga charges niyo sa taong bayan. Pwede.
Mr. Chair.
Papayag ako sa ganung kondisyon. Kasi lang kung hindi kayo papayag na hindi niyo ipapass on sa amin yung mga hindi niyo patapos na proyekto, abay, tuloy natin to Mr. Chair ng mas maaga.
Mr. Chair, it's not the problem of retrieving, but really the holidays. Our
Chair,
people
also,
are also, the people who
Mr.
will
Chair, on
retrieve
that
it
note-
are rank and filers po.
Mr. Chair, on that note, earlier, Congressman Dan Fernandez requested that certain individuals of position in NGP be invited to our next hearing. Can I also move that we also invite the State Grid International Limited, Mr. Zhu Guang Chao, Mr. Yao Yu Sheng, Mr. Wang Li Jin, and Liu Xinhua to also be present in our next hearing, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion to invite the directors of the foreign company, I suppose. What's the basis of that list that is that an SEC or BAR? What's that?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, based on our documents, the State Grid International own 36.30% of NGCP. Ngayon, I'm just a little bit concerned with how Congressman Dan Fernandez computed the 20% non-voting rights of SGP. So now that puts the Philippines and China in equal footing when it comes to decision-making for NGCP. That's why I'm requesting, Mr. Chair, that the representatives of the State Grid International Limited be also present in the next committee hearing, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So there's a request. So as a compromise, since I earlier suggested January 2 and you want 10, so let's go in the middle. Let's do January 5, okay? So January 5, please submit all documents so that we can also start and prepare.
Mr. Chair, January 5 is a Sunday.
Okay,
that
so
will still leave us...
January 6, Monday. First thing. Thank you very much. So, gitna na po tayo, okay?
Mr. Chair, that
Kumain na
means
po ako,
po...
January 2. We have to agree. Kasi, remember, I also have my calendar to work on, no? And we have...
Mr. Chair, huling tawag January 8. We will push our people when they return to work
I would
after the
suggest
holidays.
let's stick to January 6. Push everybody to January 6. Yun na lang ho, gitna na
Attorney
po tayo.
Cynthia,
Salubong na po tayo. Salubong na po tayo sa
Pagbigyan nyo na yung January 6, hindi naman
First of all
parang
naman po,
proyekto nyo ito na pwedeng
karamihan naman
i-extend.
po dahil hindi nga yung masagot yung tanong.
Mr. Chair,
kaya nga mag-position
naintindihan ko
paper
po, ang
kayo.
pinaglalaban ko dito yung mga rank and filers
Opo,
namin na
naintindihan ko
mapipilitan
po.
po.
Kaya
Not
nga
for
po-
me. I will be available all time, but it's really our rank and filers.
Kaya nga, na-adjust ko na po na hindi na po ako bigay nyo before New Year. Naintindihan ko po yun eh. Okay?
Mr. Chairman.
But it has to be also within the calendar of Congress, no?
Mr. Chairman.
So, pagay ko naman 2 days. Pwede natin i-overtime ng konti yan para magkaso in 2 days. To offset the 2 days. Thank you po.
Mr. Chairman, meron lang
With
akong...
the chair recognizes the Honorable Eddie Bong Plaza, who's also online. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. The Honorable Dan Fernandez.
I just wanted to ask some question lang kay Attorney Cynthia. If they are really concerned with their rank and file and their employees. Attorney Cynthia, meron lang ako isang katanungan. Kasi nag-public offering na tayo, nag-IPO na tayo, ang ginawa ninyo, share swap. Have you considered the employees of NGCP to be part of that alternative IPO that you have conducted? Yung bang mga empleyado ng NGCP ay part na po doon sa public offering na ginawa ng NGCP?
Mr. Chair, I'll have to look into that because there would be certain legalities that I am not...
Alam mo, Mr.
hindi ko
Chairman,
masagot
if
right
you're
now.
really manifesting in this hearing that you really care for your employees, dapat ang unang-unang tinitignan mo kapag nag-IPO ka, tignan mo yung mga empleyado mo. Dahil libo-libo yung empleyado ng NGCP. Dapat sila ang isa sa may-ari, sa kanila unang inoffer. Dahil yung ating water concessionaire, Mr. Chairman, meron silang tinatawag na ESOP. Ano yung ESOP? Lahat ng empleyado nila may-ari sa water concession that we granted. Pero dito, I wanted to find out kung talaga meron kayong concern sa inyong mga empleyado, ipakita nyo sa amin that those employees are involved dito sa pag-aari ng NGCP.
Mr. Chair.
Otherwise, kung hindi, then you have to explain to your employees bakit hindi sila ang unang inopera natin na maging owner din ng ating pong NGCP. Yun lamang po, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dan Fernandez. Your manifestation is noted.
Mr. Chair,
Deputy Speaker
just so
J.D.
that I can complete my understanding and my thorough evaluation of the issues confronting us, can I also please request a copy of the shareholders agreement from NGCP, both the Chinese and the Philippine side? And can I also request that the share swap agreement be shared to the committee as well? So moved, Mr. Chair.
Motion, duly seconded. If there are no objections, the motion is approved. Okay, so is there any other member or resource person that would like to manifest anything? DOE, ERC, NGCP, meron mo ba kayong gusto sabihin po? Ang NGCP, Ma'am Attorney? Meron mo ba kayong gusto idagdag o ano?
Nothing at this point,
Maraming
Mr. Chair.
salamat po. So, with that,
Mr. Chair, I think Dan is just starting. He's just warming up, Mr. Chair.
the Honorable ERC, Sharon Garin.
ERC ka dyan. Mr. Chair, I just wanted to make emphasis on the importance of the timeliness of the grid, Kasi I mentioned earlier there's more than a trillion foreign investments coming into the Philippines. 90% of the foreign investments in the Philippines is renewable energy. And some of that are mga winners pa ng mga GEA, ng auction natin, or they follow certain schedules kasi they time it with their financial closure. And also we have targets for offshore wind. Na yung pinakaunang offshore wind natin will be producing energy by 2028 already. So the delays are costing us Filipinos and our consumers and our economy also. It's costing us. But on the part of the investor, other than the potential revenue losses, nawawala din kasing iba eh. Pag nakita nila na walang grid na maayos, that can cater to their power, some have withdrawn already, Mr. Chair. We can cite several projects, but we can send it to the committee. Pero marami pong projects on offshore, onshore wind, even in solar, mga Thai investors from Thailand and Europe, nagwi-withdraw na dahil hindi nila nakikita yung possibility na when they finish, they can be able to sell the power that they produce. So this is really crucial for DOE, most especially for our GEA winners. Kasi meron po halos ang dami-dami po na hindi po makakonect dahil they're claiming na force majeure na to. Kasi kaya hindi kami makakomply ng obligasyon namin sa auction kasi wala pa kaming connection. And that's really putting DOE in a very difficult situation kasi so that's the cost. The main problem really is the caused by the delay, Mr. Chair.
We take note of that, and those things, all those inputs will be discussed in the next hearing Is there any other member that would like to speak before our resource persons? Meron po yung sa, yung sa computation. Antayin po natin yan kung pwede ho, isabit ho yan. Agad. Kailan nyo pwede isabit yan? Pwede ba bago
Mr. Chair,
mag-New Year, isabit nyo na yan? Sa COMSEC, pwede?
we will try our best.
Okay. Basta, okay, we will need that immediately, ha? Kasi, kasi kailangan i-forward pa ni COMSEC kay Congressman Suarez yan para hindi na kayo masyadong tanungin sa susunod na hearing. Okay,
Yes,
maraming
Mr. Chair.
salamat po sa inyo. Salamat po sa inyo.
Mr. Chair, just ano lang, because IMAP has other calculations, not specifically on the on that yung cost per household, ano. Pero meron din silang ang cost ng NGC ng Panay blackout or the delay in the interconnection of MVIP and all the Hermosa San Jose. Merong mga calculations din sila din, Mr. Chair. Maybe kahit substantial compliance in that sense, they already have those calculations also.
Yes, so please submit those calculations also as suggested, okay? We will need all that data
Yes, Mr.
for a
Chair.
more intelligent discussion in the next hearing. So there being no other
May
item,
isa lang clarification, Mr. Chairman.
the Honorable Dan Fernandez
Kasi,
of
hindi pa
the
kasi
Dome
ako-
District of Santa Rosa.
Hindi lang ako makagat over doon sa ano pa eh. Kasi nga, doon sa Section 8 ng disposal of ownership. Kasi po to,
Okay lang.
nagdesisyon na ang ano rito, ang ERC.
Next time.
Doon sa motion ng NGCP for motion for clarification. And doon sa decision na yon ay yun na nga po ay pinapayagan nila yung swap. So ngayon, ang tanong ko kasi doon, nagdesisyon yung majority. So can you still have this audacity
I think the question
to
is
ask the members to reconsider?
Mr. Chair, to be honest, kasi po wala naman pong motion for reconsideration na na-file. So, the decision became final as far as ERC is concerned. I think March 2022 when they issued the decision po. So, baka po on our part, sarado na po yung issue na yun.
So meaning yung disposal of ownership, kinonsider na yung swap.
As far as the ERC po is concerned, but that is yun nga pinabanggit ko kanina, it's a provision in the franchise of Congress. So Congress can, as far as ERC is concerned, sarado na po yung evaluation po ng ERC.
Yun na nga eh. So yun ang isang
you.
mahirap na magiging repercussion ito.
Okay. So
That the ERC decided based on the approval of the Philippine Stock Exchange. So parang nag-matter dito dahil nga inaprubahan ng PSE. So ang ERC sumunod. So parang gano'n na nangyari dyan. So but basically hindi po na ibigay sa tao yung pag-aari po na nire-require ng Section 8. So indeed there was a violation. And in that case, the problem was now, yung majority will have decided in that favor. May legal problem po tayo dito eh. So,
I think that the COMSEC, let's let the
pag-usapan na lang po natin.
let the committee secretary study this and let's look at what the options are. Anyway,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
again, the hearing is was for the to make sure that we have enough power to meet any calamity in the future, and also we are looking also at the most cost-effective rates. Of course, it is always the desire of this committee, as in my opening statement, the public good, which is sufficient supply of electricity at a lower cost for the Filipino people. Yan ho talaga ang gusto at mandado po natin sa mga hearing na to. So ulit, sa inyong lahat, any motion, a favorite motion? We've been here for 4 hours. May motion po tayo? Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, in the spirit of
Please, ma'am.
the Yuletide season, I move that we suspend today's briefing.
There's a motion to suspend. Duly seconded. The chair in objection. Hearing is suspended. Thank you.